Hi guys, and welcome back to a brand new video here on the channel. My name is James, and today we're going to go ahead and sit down and talk to you guys about the latest news in regards to Reading Football Club. Now, it's been a pretty busy week in terms of news at Reading. One thing we will touch on is that none of the contracts that have been offered to any of the players have come out and been accepted publicly just yet. So we don't have any update in terms of the out-of-contract players and who is set to re-sign. Now, obviously, some massive first-team players are out of contract in the summer. The likes of Amadou Mbengue, Joel Pereira, Michael Craig are all players that we really hope to be tying down to long-term deals, and really the same with Kelvin Ehibachiman, but no news has come out just yet. Hopefully we'll hear some in due course. But it's been a pretty busy week in terms of Reading Football Club. We've had a lot of communication and a lot of rumours flying around too. Now, the first thing that is concrete is that season tickets have gone on sale. They've actually frozen the prices for the first couple of weeks, and up until June the 6th, you're actually going to be able to go down to Bearwood Park if you purchase your season ticket. Obviously, I've purchased mine already. It was purchased within about 10 minutes of them going on sale. So yeah, I think it'll be a pretty exciting season coming up for the next year. So yeah, I definitely recommend getting down there and purchasing your season ticket for 2025-26. Now, we'll go ahead and talk about some of the news that Reading have had come out in the last couple of days, and we'll touch on the big one that actually was released today, and that's actually that Aliya Capital Partners, a Miami-based investment firm, are set to join the ownership group at Reading. Now, obviously, this is subject to EFL approval. It's actually being reported by Bloomberg, who come out of the United States. Now, who are Aliya Capital Partners? Well, they actually manage 1.97 billion worth of assets. Now, they actually helped Elon Musk purchase Twitter for 360 million, and something that a founding partner from Ross Creston is someone who I just want to touch on a quote that he said here when talking about Reading Football Club, and that is that the reason they want to go ahead and invest in Reading is because with its 150-year legacy and fiercely loyal fans, Reading FC is a sleeping giant. We want to do what it takes to fuel its untapped potential to rise through the EFL and one day rise to Premier League glory. So it's good things to hear. Listen, I don't want Reading to overly invest, and I don't want to go down that Die Young route of what we did previously, where look, we spent a lot of money and it didn't go right. And I think with Cohig and Trosclair in charge, it's not going to go down that route. I've been talking a lot about wisely spending money and wisely and being financially safe with what they do. And look, I think this right here is perfect. I think if Reading can go ahead and get these guys on board, hopefully we'll see what they're like. What I'm thinking is maybe it's a little bit of a test run just to see how Reading are like. So I don't think Rob Cohig is here for the long run. Listen, the geezer's the old man, do you know what I mean? I think he's, 76? And I don't expect him to be here for the long term. So maybe coming in with Aliya Capital Partners, them being the people that are going to help join this ownership group, potentially with a route of eventually owning the full asset itself. But look, it's exciting times. They obviously manage a lot of investments. Elon Musk is someone that apparently works quite closely with them, so it'd be quite interesting to see what happens there. Maybe we'll see Elon Musk at Reading Football Club over the next couple of weeks and a couple of months, and maybe we'll see him eventually take over the club. A man can dream. But no, in terms of that, look, it's a very, very smart thing for Reading to get as many people on board in terms of this ownership group. And look, Aliya Capital Partners seem like a rich kind. So yeah, hopefully this can only be a positive thing for the Royals. Now, Reading have had a couple of transfer rumours over the last couple of weeks. One in particular comes where Reading have inquired about out-of-contract Portsmouth defender Cohen Bramall. It's been reported by the Deck News, and it's quite interesting because Cohen Bramall was one of the players that we actually said Reading should try and pick up for free this summer. He's a left back, and for me, I said this, it was very dependent on whether Jarrell Dorset was to stay or not, because he's a very attacking option and Dorset's very defensive, so they can work like yin and yang. And a contract's been offered to Dorset, and supposedly we're inquiring about Bramall too. Now, obviously, Reading previously had interest in Cohen Bramall, and he eventually, I think it went to Colchester instead of the Royals. Maybe we didn't pursue him, but it seems like the interest is still there, and Bramall is on the radar for Reading. Now, another rumour that has come out is that Wrexham are holding interest in Charlie Savage. This comes from the Wrexham Insider, and to be honest, this was one of the transfer rumours you probably would have expected over the for the summer for me, because Charlie Savage is obviously a player that will hold interest with Wrexham. He's Welsh. He's somebody that was grown up in the north, which is very similar to the Sam Smith story. Now, there was an interview with one of the Wrexham guys, and they were talking about how their recruitment strategy is to go for these players that have been in northern academies and to try and bring them back up to the north. Now, we saw that with the recruitment of Sam Smith and Charlie Savage. Obviously, look, dad was born in Wrexham. He was part of the Man United academy, is a Welsh international. It would make sense for Wrexham to go for Charlie Savage. Now, in terms of Savage, obviously we know Man United have a big sell-on clause in regards to that. I don't know if it was 50%, 40%, something like that. But for me, Reading should only sell Savage if you're looking at 5 million upwards. Now, look, back in the John Medeski era, you'd always see some sort of sale happen at Reading because it was there, because that's how Reading made money. And if Savage is going to be sold, for me, £5 million is probably about the right price tag. He's still got a couple of years left on his contract. He's an international player, and he's got massive amounts of experience now in the EFL. He's a young player as well. And for me, you're looking at bags of potential. Look, if Savage has to go, Savage has to go. Look, we've got ready-made replacements with Craig, with Aliya, with players like that who are able to slot into this midfield three and maybe push Lewis Wing further up the pitch, or have Elliott slot into that Savage role. But for me, look, I wouldn't like to see Savage go, no, but if he has to go, £5 million upwards would be the price tag I'd be looking at. Now, the last piece of news is a incoming, and that's that Reading are holding interest in Ronan Hale. He's a striker for Ross County and has scored 16 goals in 40 matches across the season this year in Scotland. Now, for me, Ronan Hale would be a decent addition. He's a Northern Irish international as well, and Reading supposedly were looking at him on the game that happened last night in Livingston versus Ross County, a game where Reading had two potential transfer targets playing, with Pryor playing in goal and Hale up front. Look, for me, I don't know lots about Ronan Hale. I'm going to be completely honest. It would just be a complete guess if I was going to say I knew a lot. But for me, look, 16 goals in a team that's fighting relegation in the Premiership of Scotland seems like a decent buy on paper. Look, he previously has played in England with Birmingham, didn't really get massive amounts of opportunity, but potentially could be someone that we could see strike for Reading in the third tier of English football. That's going to be it for this video today, though, guys. Thank you very much for watching. My name's been James, and we'll see you all again very soon. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.